What's going on, everybody? Can we talk? Let me unpack it. Can you unpack it for me? Hey, anyway, I wanted to jump right into the contract for Black America. Uh, Ice Cube's Platinum Plan that he presented, 45, as they call them. Um, how many of you read it? And if you haven't, we finna look at it. So basically what I'm saying is I wanted to start right here at Google, and you just put in contract for Black America, as I just did there, and hit enter. And the first one's gonna come up, icecube.com, contract Black America. It comes there. Again, remember, this thing is all about collaboration from what I can see. He wants us to get together and give him what we think on this. So let's just get in. Now, we've already read the introduction, the prefix, and all of that. So we're going to go right on to lending reform. Here, the title is Massive Bank Lending and Finance Reform. Now, while capitalism is a good system, it requires capital to participate. For decades, Black and Jewish people and neighborhoods considered hazardous were entirely or largely denied loans through unscrupulous banking practices known as redlining. While redlining was made illegal in 1968 with the passage of the Fair Housing Act, and then again with the 1977 Community and Reinvestment Act, CRA, statistics show the perpetuation of de facto redlining in many of the same communities, most notably Black communities. It still exists. Studies consistently show Blacks are denied access to lending in roughly the same percentages as before the acts passed in the first place. The result is white families have nearly 10 times the net worth of Black families today. As an example, even when Black families get home mortgages, nearly 20% pay an average of 1.5 points above the average that are for whites, that are offered to whites. Now, although the Black population is roughly 13.4% of the nation, approximately only 3% of loans and credit are given to Black people, whether for credit cards, home mortgages, or Black-owned business opportunities and business. So in addition, only 1% of banks are owned or Black-led. Now, rates on Black loans federally and from banks to be the same. Rates, now his proposal is that first, rates on Black loans federally and from banks be the same average rates as the whites receive. For qualified Black Americans, Federal Reserve is to allow a one-time interest-free loan for home ownership. Federal Reserve currently provides corporations with free or 1% loans and is flooding the market with liquidity. Instead of it all going to property, prop up the stock market, help create Black families' wealth through property ownership. Again, he's proposing that we get the same rates as white people get, and that Black African Americans be given the opportunity that these big corporations are giving by giving you a one-time interest-free loan for your home ownership. Now, they've been doing this for the longest time with them, but they ain't never done it with us. This would help create Black wealth through property ownership. Now, the Federal Reserve, second point, to adopt a view of employing modern monetary theory with the goal of maximizing employment. Now, what is the modern monetary theory? So we might want to write that one down on a notepad here while I'm thinking about it. Modern, what do you say? What we say it is, the modern monetary monetary theory. Okay, let me write that down because we're going to come back and try to look at that later. Theory I don't know. We go. Now, I'll go back and correct that spelling because it's going to drive me crazy for the entire presentation. There it is, theory. I should have done this in the beginning. That's my fault, but let me just go ahead and do that now. You know, there we go. Now, we'll come back to that. Now, the Federal Reserve is to adopt a view employing modern monetary theory with the goal of maximizing employment, housing, and educational opportunities, as well as improving quality of living for Black and poor Americans. Spending will be constrained only when the actual inflation appears. Now, the federal plan of baby bonds is the third proposal, which I felt was interesting because to me, that's like it's, you know, letting the straw man out, you know, and be part of this thing. Proposed by Derek Hamilton will provide, this is a baby bond proposed by Derek Hamilton, who I think is, you know, up on the preface, will provide every child born into lower wealth families with accounts that will start with $1,000 and will continue to be funded by the government based on family wealth up to $46,500 as proposed by Senator Booker and Representative Presley. The accounts to be managed by the Treasury and the use of the funds is restricted to asset enhancing actions such as buying you a home, starting your business, or going ahead on and fund your education right there. The rate on Black loans federally and from banks is to be the same average as whites. Another point for qualified Black Americans, Federal Reserves will, is this a repeat? To allow a one-time interest-free loan for, this is a repeat. So that's all a repeat. Now, change the decades-old credit scoring model to mandate consideration of consumer data on rent, utility, cell phone bill payments, and etc. Now, that's an interesting idea because the credit situation, I'm going to look at some things later, but that credit situation is something else, but he's addressing it. Here in another point when it's considering what we're talking about here, in case you're just getting in, is the lending reform that's in the contract with Black America. He's proposing that a cookie jar company is any company that knowingly involved in human trafficking, human bondage, slave trading, or slave labor at any point in its existence. Companies found to have been directly benefited by the private prison systems and those who perpetrated overtly racist policies will also be considered cookie jar companies. Individual negotiations will be conducted by a commission formed for the singular purpose of assessing penalties and remedies from these companies caught with their hands in the cookie jar. Venture capital and private equity funds that take money from police unions or other public entities must invest, get this, 13.4% of their total funds into Black-owned business. According to an agency called Axios, only 1% of VC venture capital-backed founders were Black between 2013 to 2018. Government pension funds, federal and state pension funds, control over $1 trillion. They must allocate 13.4% of their investments into Black-owned enterprises and businesses. Why? 13.4 is the amount of our percentage in the population of this nation. I think that's more than adequate to start acting like they give a flip. a flop, you know? Corporations are publicly regulated, and as a part of the certification process, all past and current tax returns must be made public. We don't need to be arguing over nobody's taxes when you can come take ours. Create a transparent reporting mechanism for abuses to economic programs designed to benefit communities in need, including federal programs such as Economic Opportunity Zones and Community Reinvestment Act. Okay. Audit of the community opportunity zones to determine who is benefiting from the disbursement of the funds and the tax breaks and the public disclosure of the owners of the projects granted such access. Basically saying whoever getting these government programs that they saying is benefiting something in the community, y'all gonna make the community thing go on. You gonna help renovate the houses in there, and they give you all this money, and you all did one house, and ain't nobody heard from you from now on, and you've been renewing it every year. Well, no, that'll be regulated, checked out, and dealt with accordingly, according to this plan. Now, we can stop here because this is it. You can go back and read it for yourself. Take your time on it. I would go back and read representations again. Hughley was saying why his big old argument was why is Trump willing to sit down against all these other why you ain't willing to sit down with Cuba, get this thing straight and find them people you was talking about, Hughley, and go ahead on and get them ready to sit at the table once they agree to go and give us this representation in the front anyway, and then we'll do like what Malcolm X said. You know what I'm saying? Let me see if I can't find that clip for you guys, because if I can, then what I'll do is play just what he says here. Let's see, where's videos at here? Let's see, where's our videos at? We're going to go ahead on and play what they should have said.
Study the structure of the Negro community, economically, politically, civically, psychologically, and otherwise. It's controlled by the white liberal, who usually poses as the friend of the Negro, who actually differs from the white conservative in the same way that the fox differs from the wolf. Their appetite is the same. Their motives are the same. It's only their mannerisms and methods that differ. I'm suspicious of whites who join Negroes and always have to be in the lead, who always have to be the head, who always have to be at the top in Negro organizations. Those whites who really have the interest of blacks at heart, let them give some advice to some Negroes and stand on the sideline. But don't join the organization and then get at the head of it and pose as a friend of Negroes.
Well,
All right then. All I can say is thanks again for tuning in.